On our third anniversary, I brought a gift and went to Jackson's studio, ready to surprise him with a confession. I was actually the daughter of the richest man in town. However, when the door opened, what greeted me was a shocking sight: Jackson completely undressed, posing as a model for another woman. When I confronted him, he defended himself with righteous indignation. "I'm only doing this to save money for our wedding." Sensing the tension, the woman chimed in coyly. "Jackson is sacrificing for the sake of art. There's really nothing improper between us." I stared at the two of them, perched on their moral high ground, and quietly turned away to cancel the extravagant dowry I had prepared. Stepping out of the boutique, I ran into Jackson Gray, wrapped in a cozy embrace with a girl. Both of them giggled as if they were sharing the world's funniest joke. I shot them a quick look, not really interested in their drama, but the girl's eagle eyes caught mine. She gave me a once-over, her arms snaking through Jackson's as she jostled him. "Jackson, I thought you said your girlfriend was broke. What's she doing coming out of a place like that?" Jackson's face twisted into an awkward grimace. "She's all about the glitz and glam, always window shopping, even when she can't afford a thing." That stung. Jackson's eyes lit up like fireworks every time we strolled past those fancy stores. However, he could not even afford a high-quality knockoff with the bit of money he made. I always dragged him inside, making mental notes of whatever caught his eye the longest. Later, I surprised him with it, pretending I had scrimped and saved for the imitation. He lit up like a kid on Christmas morning, every single time. Then, there I was, being painted as the vain one. The girl let out a tinkling laugh. "Oh, now I get it. You said she was always giving you fakes. Remember that Chanel jacket you wore the other day? The logo was practically a doodle." She patted Jackson's jacket, making sure I heard her. "Isn't the real deal I got you so much better? Feels good, doesn't it?" I froze, my eyes darting to Jackson's jacket. A closer look revealed a head-to-toe parade of phonies, not just the jacket. My face must have been an incredulous jigsaw puzzle of emotions as I pointed at his jacket. "You're calling this the real deal?" She smirked. "What? You think everyone's as strapped for cash as you, only able to snag fakes? If you can't afford the real McCoy, don't bother, it's just humiliating. Now that Jackson's my personal model, he's got a dress to the nines." I could not help but chuckle at the absurdity. With a nod toward the Patek Philippe store behind me, I quipped, "Jackson has had his eye on a slick watch for a while. Since you're so tight with him, why don't you snag it for him now?" Her face froze over. I chuckled. "What's wrong? Can't swing it?" Sarah Jensen exploded and said, "Who do you think you are? Telling me to buy something and I just do it? If Jackson wants it, I'll get it for him later, of course." I taunted her and said, "Here's your chance to buy it right now. You'd really show me up since I'm broke. Why wait? Unless you're worried you can't afford the real deal and you're planning to get off a knockoff." That's enough." Jackson cut in sharply. "Juliana, when will you stop this nonsense? Do you even know who she is?" "She's Sarah, the one and only daughter of Sean Jensen, the richest guy around, the Jensen family's princess. You think she can't afford it?" That hit me like a ton of bricks. Wait, if she's Ms. Jensen, then who the heck am I? "You're saying you're Ms. Jensen?" I bit back my words. However, she stood there, all high and mighty. "If I'm not her, then are you? What? Got cold feet?" Her act was so spot on that I started to wonder if my dad really had a secret kid out there. I swung my gaze back to Jackson. "Is this why you stabbed me in the back?" Jackson's lips tightened, and he could not meet my eyes. "I told you, there's nothing going on and You're supposed to be an artist, but you can't even appreciate art. You've done zilch." "Oh, you're an artist too?" Sarah snorted and said, "Has the bar for being an artist gotten so low? Can anybody just claim they're an artist now?" I shot her a look. "So, Miss Jensen, got any pearls of wisdom to share?" Sarah wrapped her arms around herself, oozing arrogance. "Everyone in our circle knows Rebecca, don't they?" At the mention of Rebecca, my eyes slowly grew wide in disbelief. "You can't possibly be telling me that you're that mysterious, elusive genius painter Rebecca, whose artwork fetches a fortune, can you?" Sarah smirked with disdain. "Of course that's me. Without Jackson, a low-level artist like you wouldn't even get the chance to meet me." The whole situation seemed like something out of a fantasy. Was that woman going around stealing my identity and pretending to be in my profession? Back at home, I could not shake off the image of Sarah confidently claiming she was Rebecca. I absent-mindedly flipped through my sketches only to be startled. My original drafts had vanished into thin air. I was always careful with my sketches. I never took them out with me. It was clear who had taken them. When Jackson returned, he avoided my gaze and made a beeline for the shower, looking guilty. "Hold it right there." I stood up and stopped him. "Don't you have anything to say?" Jackson steadied himself and looked back at me. "What do you want me to say?" "It was just a modeling gig, all right? You've been upset all day. What do you really want? Just a modeling gig?" Even though I was ready to let go, his nonchalant attitude still stung. For this man, I had clashed with my father and had not been home in years. I spent the money I made from my paintings on luxury items for him, feeding his ego. He was an obscure artist and I pulled strings to sell his work. He claimed that an artist's hands were too valuable, so I did all the housework, cooking, and laundry. Yet, my hands were meant for painting too. If it were not for my love for him, I would still be the beloved youngest daughter at home, not relegated to playing his maid. I did everything I could so he could chase his dreams, paint his heart out, and let his talent shine without a single worry holding him back. However, then he took a dive, posing as a nude model for someone else. Yet, he did not even see the problem. I grabbed his collar, exposing a canvas of kiss marks on his skin. "You call this nothing? Is this what art now demands?" Jackson, irritated, covered up the marks and pushed me off. "If it sparks my inspiration, what's the harm? Didn't you always say you'd support my work, yet you can't handle this little thing? No wonder you're still trailing behind after all these years of painting. Sarah's just a girl lost in her love for art. Don't taint what we have with your dirty mind." "All right, let's cut to the chase," I said, sneakily hitting the record button on my phone and nodding toward the table behind me. "Spill it?" "Where are my sketches?" Jackson's swagger vanished in an instant. "What sketches are you talking about? Cut the act." "It's just us here. If you didn't take them, then who did?" Jackson scowled. "Yuliana, when did you get so harsh?" "Sure, I took them. I'm your boyfriend. What's the big deal in checking out your work?" I scoffed. "Was it really for you or for that Rebecca lady?" That struck a nerve. "What's your point? Even if Sarah took a peek, what was it to you? You thought she'd copy you?" "She was just curious about my sketches, and I found a few of yours decent enough to show her. It was just a few sketches." "You were done with them anyway. What's the fuss about showing her the originals? Come on!" "Would you benefit from me showing her your drafts too? Don't weddings need money? I'm doing all this to give you the life you deserve. Why can't you see that?" I quietly shut off the recording on my phone. Just then, my phone buzzed to life. It was my dad, whom I had not spoken to in ages. He had tried to contact me a few times over the years, but I had never given in to his pleas to dump Jackson. Each call ended with his disappointed click of the receiver. "Dad? Yuliana, you still remember I'm your dad?" His words hit me, and I felt a lump in my throat. I had been so mad at Dad for that guy that I had not been home in 3 years. "So what's it going to be? Still not coming home?" I sniffed back tears. "Dad, I've missed you so much." At that, I could almost hear my dad's resolve crumble. "Yuliana, why the tears?" "Stop crying. Did Jackson do something to you? I'll take care of it." Through my sobs, I managed to say, "I'm sorry, Dad. I'm going to break up with Jackson. I'm coming home." Jackson's face paled. He grabbed my phone and ended the call. "Yuliana, what's this about?" "You're breaking up with me. We're about to tie the knot." I dried my eyes and looked at him with a newfound resolve. "Didn't you say all this was for our future together?" "Well, I'm telling you now, the wedding's off. Jackson, we're done." "In your dreams," Jackson sneered, holding on to me. "What's gotten into you?" "I've been busting my back for us, and now you just want to call it quits?" "Busting your back or someone else's bed?" I glared at him. "Jackson, do you even remember what today is?" Jackson's brow creased, a clear sign he had forgotten, but he still tried to deflect. "Forget an anniversary. Big whoop. Aren't I swamped with work too? What's more important, work or some date on the calendar?" I was done, arguing, "Our lease is up at the end of the month. If you're so keen on staying, figure it out. Rent's $90,000 a year, by the way. You're joking, right?" Jackson was in disbelief. "You said this was your buddy's place that we could crash here for free, and now you're hitting me with a rent bill? $90,000? You've got some nerve." I just shook my head and started packing up my stuff. It was just my sketches and not much else. Jackson grabbed my hand. "You're seriously walking out? Do I look like I'm kidding?" he scowled. I'm not okay with this. I shot back. Oh, what's the matter? Can't stand losing your free maid? Since when have you got a say in what I do? He gripped me tight and flung me onto the bed. Right as we were at a standoff, someone knocked on the door. Jackson shot me a look and swung the door open. In walked a bunch of tall, sunglasses-wearing goons in black. Mr. Sean Jensen has sent us to escort you home.